Dr. Jazz.
Little bit about how you started and stuff like that, and maybe what you've been doing lately, and.
Anything.
Okay, so you like bananas or not?
Yes, I like it.
No, no. Oh my God. No, but I'll start with this. I know you said you're doing something like an orchestra, I think, in Slovenia now, kind of like
Yes.
this Butch Morris oriented thing, and
Yes.
I think you worked with Butch also, right? In his one of his
Yeah, I
orchestras.
did.
How did this happen, and what did that mean for you? I mean, regarding the composition and improvisation and concepts.
Well, yes, I must say that when I met Butch Morris it was more than at least 2001, probably 2000, and so it's already 13 years ago. And no, less. Let's say 2008. Yeah,
Okay.
something like that, 15 years ago. And I didn't know who he was. And everybody was talking about him. And I took part in this, I was teaching in this masterclass in Sant'Anna Resi in Sardinia, where there is a big festival oriented more for improvised music. Many big names for improvising music, Chicago area. Many musicians from that area would come to play. For example, Butch first of all, and Henry Threadgill.
Wow.
And this kind of musician. So, and since I was there, and they were putting up an orchestra for a concert with Butch Morris, with the conduction. So I just met him like that. And and then I realized from the first rehearsal, I said, "Oh wow, that's really interesting, the conduction thing, no?" And it was amazing. It was really interesting, and I think we got along quite well, because then I wrote to him. It happened that I had to go to New York in 2012. Yeah, 2012. I had to go to New York for a couple of concerts at the Stone.
Oh, wow.
It was because the Stone makes a festival every week, different artistic director, and this was the week for the recording label. So I was there for the Intact. I was there to play a concert for the Intact label, which I recorded together with the Swiss saxophone player, Jörg Halder.
Yeah.
So that's, and then I just wrote him an email. Said I'm in town. I said, yeah, let me know when. So I met him, and in that period he was playing. He was doing conduction at Nublu, which is a play, and at the Stone also. So I played there many times, with him and the conduction. And the bad thing is that he wanted to do a steady orchestra project in Bologna the year after, but then in 2013 he died.
Yeah.
So this didn't happen, but it was a very good time, and I learned a lot. I must say that the conduction thing, when it's done by people like Butch Morris, is really, the music can be really interesting.
Yeah.
And the concept is that of conduction, you always say, I control the form, but you musician, you control the music. I mean, what is in
the content. Yeah.
Content, yes. that's and I was invited to do this improvisation masterclass for a classical orchestra.
Oh wow, okay.
And in Italy, in Forlì last year. It's an interesting project that involves also all the Balkan area, because it's called the Bridge Between People.
Okay.
This association try to put together classical musicians from all over the Balkans and Greece, also Spain, and Mediterranean. Let's say Mediterranean and Balkan, Italy, Greece, Serbia, Slovenia, Kosovo, and they play together a classical project directed by a Slovenian conductor, like Žiga Cerar.
Okay.
And I am the part of for the improvisation thing. I am the conductor, so it was a good chance to put the teaching. I mean, the teaching of Butch in work, put to work things. It's really effective, and I see. It's not the one that I must say that says that, but it looks like the people, the students, and the musician like it. It looks like, I don't know if they do.
Well, I think it's a nice approach what he did, so I mean, it's one of the best, like out there for conduction.
Yeah, there are different systems of conduction, like sound painting. But I try to do a little bit of what I learned with Butch, which but Butch, of course, Butch Morris had a huge palette of gestures, which I'm not even using 10%, but yeah, it's really effective.
Oh, beautiful. Wow. Aki, I mean, we played together quite a lot since we were young.
Yes. Sometimes I always remember many gigs.
Yeah, it's like 20 years ago, and I never asked you, like, when we were touring or playing, you never get to talk about some things, but like, how did you start with jazz actually? Like, what was your trigger that you said, shit, I want to play this? Like, do you remember the moment, or?
Yeah, I remember. It's it's a long time ago, because I was a kid. I was playing in a marching band by that time, like in my town. I was about 14 years old. I used to play clarinet in the marching band, but then the marching band bought me. They needed somebody to play saxophone.
Okay.
They had some financing, and they bought a saxophone for us kids. So they just gave me an alto saxophone, and but it was about the summer break. So they just gave me the instrument I had in home, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know, because I don't come from a musician family. It's just music for me was just the marching band, and maybe some folk music. I didn't know anything. And so I just went to a music store. There was no internet, nothing. Just went to a music store and tried to look for some records of saxophone. And so I took this record. There was this guy playing the same saxophone I had home. And there was also the book, no? And they said, oh, so I might buy this. And it happens that was Charlie Parker recording. It was a Charlie Parker live, a very famous. Actually, it's a famous recording, which I love it. It's like a concert on the Christmas evening, on the 25th of July, 1949. I remember. And the book was the only book. The book with. So I just went home. I didn't have any idea of what was going to happen. I just put the record, and the first tune was "A Bird of Paradise," that is a contrafact of All the Things You Are. And I was like, "What are?" I didn't know what what the fuck are they doing? I was like, I was impressed. I didn't know what was that. I mean, I just hear, and also there was a guy introducing the band talking English, like wah, 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 like this. For me was like barking, you know? And and you could hear, and you could hear like people drinking and glasses and like a jazz club, you know. I was amazed. I was like, and then I took the book and I was looking at the music and nothing was, there was no coincidence between the music, what they were playing and the notes written. So I said, what, why? And then I realized, then they told me, no, the guy are improvising, no? So improvisation, but it was like, I need to know this. I need to know what they do. That's all. I mean, I was shocked. And still, Bird of Paradise is my favorite tune ever.
Oh, wow.
And,
Okay.
yeah, every time I go back to, I mean, I'm sad. I think about this recording. No, this tune specific solo. Sorry, it's a bad story, but that's
It's a good story.
yeah. This is it was just a coincidence, like okay. But
And did you then start exploring like other, I mean, artists like started to buy jazz records and?
Yeah, after it happened that in my town there was the first one of the first library for music in Italy.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
In Nonantola.
In Nonantola, yeah, that's
Really?
funny, but
Wow, okay.
yeah, but I'm talking about 1985. That's
Wow, okay.
something very long time ago. And so there was this guy, was a jazz lover, and as soon as he knew that I was interested in jazz, he started to give me record, to borrow me, and to copy in cassette tape, you know,
Yeah.
like. He said, you must listen to this. And I start to listen without really understanding what I was listening. But I mean, you start to,
Yep.
and then in the music school there were some people going to practice there, older than me. So a saxophone player that was telling me, also giving me suggestion. I learned by. I'm self-taught. I mean, I was learning by people just asking here and there. The guitar player was teaching me chord changes, and afterward, eventually I took some lesson from a real saxophone teacher, and then eventually, the most important thing I think for learning things was going to the Siena Jazz masterclass when I was about 17, 18 years.
Who was teaching then?
Gianluigi Trovesi.
Oh, wow, really? Oh, wow, okay.
Yes, Gianluigi Trovesi is I mean, for me, is like a musical father, because I was so young. I was 17. And he was giving me suggestion. Also, is the one that introduced me to bass clarinet.
Ah, okay, that's so okay.
Yeah, is this one, and it was really nice for me. And I also had an ensemble with Enrico Rava. I was in the ensemble class, so I have the chance to. Yeah, I think. In that year, in that masterclass, which was 20 days long, I think I had enough material to practice for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And then eventually I got the scholarship to go maybe to Berkeley, but this happened afterward. Like, yeah, it was already, I think I mostly was studying by myself. Yeah.
How was Berkeley then for you when you came to the States? I mean, because it's famous that, you come there and there are all these monster players on every instrument.
Yeah.
How was your experience like?
Well, it was just, I must say, it was just one semester, because I had the scholarship. I had the scholarship from the Umbria Jazz Master, which I attended in the 1990. So and then in 1993 I went to Berkeley. It was good because not just because of more or less. Then by that time you could already have all kind of worksheet or kind of Berkeley press. You could actually study home the Berkeley program, no?
Yeah.
But the thing was that every year more than 700 new students enroll at Berkeley. Not all for jazz, but let's say that at least half of them, like 400, are there to play jazz and improvise. So yeah, that was really impressive for me. It was the chance to meet people and to play. If you wanted to play every day, every night with different people every day, you could have the chance. You could. It's a big opportunity. That I'm with. I try to take as much as I could, but probably I could have taken more. For example, writing side or trying to play with people. It was a big experience, and sometimes I am still in touch with some Berkeley students.
Oh, really?
Now.
Okay.
Now, that was the most important thing. It was to play and to meet people, and 24 hours a day, 7 days per week.
Yeah, you're young and you have time for that. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah,
that was the best, and of course, great teachers. And I remember, for example, Andy McGee, a saxophone player who used to play with Woody Herman Orchestra, Billy Pierce.
Yeah,
and I mean, great name, of course, and there was a great guitar player who I used to play with. It was called Garrison Fuel.
Sure, yeah.
Who passed away like 2 years ago. Yeah, he was teaching air training there, but we eventually became friends. And I remember many teachers and people. I mean, it was to me, it was a great experience. I know some people are like they don't really. I mean, but they are not there to teach you how to become a creative. They just to teach you what you need. You need to do your own way, and of course, meet people. Was the most important thing, I guess. For me, that's for me.
No, everyone says that. Yeah, that's usually. What about New York? You mentioned New York before. Like, did you ever consider going there or trying there? Or like, I mean, I know you went there a couple of times probably, but what was your experience with New York?
Well, New York is fantastic, but I love too much spaghetti and to move there.
I think that's the answer, actually. True.
Yeah, and I mean, it's fantastic to be there, and especially in the 90s or in the year 2000, it was a very good place to be. And all the musicians I love more actually are based there. But maybe I didn't dare to go there. I don't know. I like also. I'm a countryside person, so.
I know what you mean. It's like the quality of living also in Europe, I think.
Yeah, it's a quality of living, and I really like. I must say, I really like Italy and Europe to be there and to be here. And I think I can do. I mean, of course, in the US, and maybe you get to play with big names and to do many things, but I think sometimes maybe in Europe you have more chance to do things that you like more, even if after the problem is just to find a place to play and an audience. But
but all the gigs are in Europe. That's a fact. I think everyone comes here to play, so more or less.
And especially now, I see that most of the American musicians can. So I can name at least 4 or 5 big names, big musicians that are based in Italy now. They live in Italy.
Yeah.
So and of course Germany and Netherlands, of course. But,
I know Seamus Blake and Greg Hutchinson and all these guys went to Italy, right?
Yeah, they live in Italy, and so many
guys. How was your and you mentioned you love Italy, like how was your start in the Italian jazz scene? You know, like who did you start playing with, your first kind of professional gigs or entering the scene? Because I know now you're like on 300 CDs or something, you're on too many albums, like, but how did you start, you know, like what was your beginning?
Well, I started, I was lucky because maybe I was very young, so they took me as a enfant prodige, you know, but that of course I wasn't, but I had the chance to play with people older than me. That was really good. And the first, of course, the local band, local musician, like I remember the very first record I did was with a saxophone player from Modena, from the city, my city, called Ivan Valentini. That was the first guy, and I met Roberto Dani.
Ah, really? Okay.
Yeah, which was also an enfant prodige. Like we are almost the same age. Maybe he's 1 year older than me, and we were in that band. So we met, and then from this band, I started to play with an Italian guitar player called Simone Guiducci, that you might know, and together with Roberto Dani and Salvatore Maiore, bass player. So, and we play a lot with them, with this band. And then also we had a special guest, Ralph Alessi.
Okay, that's how you connected with Ralph.
So, yeah, little by little play there, here and there. I start to, and probably, I don't know, they call me to play, to record. So I've been recording a lot of projects. Most of those projects, maybe we play like 2 gigs, 2 concerts, and
I know, it's terrible.
But to me is to play with many bands. To me is a way to practice, to learn. It's always been like that. I mean, it's not that. It's not because I want to be, how do you say, presentialist, no, to be everywhere. It's just that for me it's a chance to learn, because everybody, especially, I especially like when there are special projects that they last 1 concert and that it's gone, but I can experiment new music, no, new tunes, and it's always nice. I mean, I really love that, because there is so much good music around.
I think. It's scary.
And of course, for job-wise, for the worker of musician, it's good to have a band, a steady band that you have a concert. But for learning things, I see this way. For my point of view is that to play with different people there is always something to learn.
I agree.
And of course, and it's fun. And I mostly like to play. And also with you, of course, no? How many? We played many times.
Yeah, we did many. Quite a lot.
And every time it was a new discovery. No, I mean new.
It's always fun.
And I must say that when of course, and then when if I write a tune by myself, or I have to put up a concert, which is very seldom happens, but when it happens, of course, it comes, everything that I did with other bands, it comes together. No,
how do you write usually? I mean, I really love your tunes, you know, like that Momo, Pocahontas, Anthropophagia, Bill Frisell. I love that stuff. Like, how do you usually write? What's your process there? Sit down with a bass line or melody, or?
Depends. I started with trying to write some contrafact, like,
Oh, really?
and
Okay.
but then I think the real turning point was when I attended the Dave Liman masterclass back in 1999.
Mm.
And one of the homework of Dave Liman was to write a solo tune and a quintet tune.
Ah,
So
okay.
to be
Wow.
played at the masterclass. And then I had to force myself, and Dave Liman would say, whatever you practice, try to write a tune out of it. That's the, and this for me was really the thing. I try to, so writing for me is a way to practice.
Mm.
Whatever, yeah. If I'm practicing, let's say diminished scale, I just try to write a tune over it. And also, I'm really into counterpoint. That's the thing that I love it.
Yeah.
I love Bach, of course, and I love before Baroque counterpoint. I really love it. I love the more and so it happens that I not big results, but probably the music to other people sounds good, maybe because it's not correct. I mean, is wrong counterpoint because I don't know how to write it, but I'm just and I'm learning little by little. I'm learning and I'm working like I had so far. I have a project with on Bach and improvisation.
Oh, really? Okay.
Another saxophone player, and now we had a singer, Cristina Zavalloni, that you might know,
Yeah.
and a beatboxer.
Wow.
So we do, and I wrote some arrangements and some music of mine, and then I did a little project with also with folk music from the south.
Oh,
From the Gargano part, and try to mix to mash up. Now they say mash up with my music. So I like to same thing as playing with a different band.
yeah.
To write to me is an exercise. It's like of course I try to make music out of it, but it's mostly how should I, if I have something musical like a motive, what do I have to do to make it sound as best as I can, the way I want. I always try to, that's the idea. And yeah, there is not much. And I like, sometimes I pick up little folk melodies, and
Okay.
I reharmonize, or maybe I do the inversion, I do the backward, I do things like that. And sometimes I have a whole drawers full of sheets of music. And sometimes, once in a while, one of these sheets, little scraps, become a tune.
Okay.
I have tons of it. Like.
How come you don't lead bands more? Do you like being a band leader? I mean,
no, I lead bands, but my bands never play. So
okay.
I'm very weak in find a concert. I something that I hate, and that's the good side of. I'm lucky because I'm called very much as a sideman. So now also I'm teaching in a conservatory in Ferrara and teaching in Siena Jazz. So I have chance to play with many different bands, or maybe I play with students band, or I have. But when it's time to promote my band, is important. I mean, it's too much. It's frustrating for me, so I never. But I have bands. I am full of bands. My project. But But by writing gives me like a sort of consolation, I would say.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I write for other and I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. How did Shiva's Dance happen, by the way? I love that record.
Shiva's Dance. That's one other of the band that play maybe 2 gigs, 3 gigs.
Ah,
in,
wow, shit, man.
yeah.
That's such good music you wrote there, really.
And yeah, that's the way. I'm not good in promoting myself, so that's all. Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe they don't like. Sometimes it's like, okay, you find a gig, but they ask you maybe you should find a band that is not so you play easier tune or it's too difficult music.
Yeah. It's heavy.
So sometimes it's frustrating, and I prefer just to give up.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's heavy.
I know, but I know you know very good because you are. Yes, I know you are very good in this, but it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Yeah, it is. It's.
Yeah. I understand you also. Sometimes when we play together, I said, "Wow, Samo is so good."
Yeah, at least that's something, right?
Yeah, no. Besides the fact that you are a great guitar player, but I mean,
no, it's heavy to do this touring. It's
yeah. Sometimes I'm amazed.
Yeah, me too, actually. Aki, how did you connect with all these American musicians? Like, I know you played with Uri Caine quite a lot, and did I think some albums with him also. Like, how did that story begin with Uri?
Well, not quite a lot, but yeah, I had the chance. Well, I don't remember the begin. Maybe the first time I think it was because of Ralph Alessi.
Ah, okay.
Ralph Alessi, I have to sub Chris Speed in the Mahler project with so he had a couple of concerts in Spain, and probably Ralph Alessi told Uri Caine to sub to ask as a sub, and then. After this, we get to know, and he did this Verdi project, and which is a CD from the Winter and Winter, like Otello Syndrome.
Yeah.
This Otello Syndrome, he asked me directly. I was recording in Germany, and we had a concert, and then also. We had this collaboration with Gambas, Gambas Quartet, ancient viola. We say viola da gambas.
Okay, yeah.
It's called. It was a quartet, classical. Baroque quartet, and he did Jeremiah's Lamentation. Together with Cristina Zavalloni, other 2 singers. And he asked me to join the project, and we play also in Spain. Then we were supposed to play again a couple of concerts in Italy with this project and others, but then the COVID came, and that was cancelled. Yeah. And so that's why I got and I played. Yeah. I played the Mahler and the Otello Syndrome.
Yeah.
And then I played this Jeremiah's Lamentation. Yeah, very nice. It was nice.
Beautiful music.
He's great. I also learned a lot from him.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Also to write, and especially how to handle a band together. He's really nice. He's great. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
And now I'm also playing with with foreign musician, not much, but I'm playing with I just did a great project with Franco D'Andrea.
Oh, really? The piano player? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. He has his own intervallic concept, which is really interesting. And we did a concert in the auditorium in Rome. And then we had a recording, and he's planning to do also some more project in a small band, small group. That's very nice.
Yeah, I have one album of his with I think Steven Bernstein is on it. I don't know. Combinazione or something. I don't know what's the title, but Combinazione.
I did an album with Franco D'Andrea and Steven Bernstein.
Yeah, I like that.
That's the one. Maybe that's the one. This was back 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's quite old, already.
Yeah, and the concept in this record, he started to develop his own peculiar concept of intervallic areas, which is something a little bit in between Henry Threadgill, Steve Coleman, and he has this is something personal, but that's more or less the idea. It goes this direction.
Yeah. Oh, nice. No, I wanted to ask you also. I know you did some work with Sclavis also. You know, he's a monster player also.
Luis Sclavis.
How did you play with him? I mean, how did you hook up with him?
Well, there was that's already a long time ago. I used to play in a trio in Italy with guitar, piano, and me.
Oh, nice.
And it was called Atman.
Oh yeah, trio. Sure. You gave me a CD of that. Yeah. Exactly.
And we had a concert, and the special guest came Luis Sclavis. And that's also, as I told you before, playing with people is a great way to learn.
Yeah.
I mean, I learned so much just to play with him. One concert, it was worth.
It was only this.
It was worth like 5 years of lesson, of bass clarinet. Yeah. And so and gave me a nice suggestion, and then afterward, and I was involved in a special project in Amiens, sponsored by, I think it was like Label Bleu. It was in the auditorium the Label Bleu used to record, and so we had this, and then we invited him in the project in Italy, other bands. He came as a special guest, and I just saw him at the beginning of May, because there was a big bass clarinet meeting in Vicenza. In Conservatory of Vicenza, we were like 6 bass clarinet players in Italian, and then with special guest Gianluigi Trovesi and Luis Sclavis. That was a great time. Yeah. 8 bass clarinet player together.
What can go wrong, right?
Yes. Yeah, that was quite impressive. Sclavis is always great. I mean, what can we say? And it was very good to see together 2 of my best musicians, like Gianluigi Trovesi and Sclavis, like it was really something. It was really touching.
Yeah. Very nice. How did you mentioned COVID before? Like, I wanted to ask you also. You know, you've been a part of the Italian scene now 30 years already. You're unfortunately. Like, how do you see the development? Like, if you look now back of the scene, like, is it getting better? I mean, there are no more schools and stuff, but the club and gig wise, I mean, what's the situation?
You say exactly the situation. Yeah. I mean, 30 years ago, or for example, in the 80s, when I was just a student, I mean, I was just learning, and I was about 17. I remember my father was driving me to the gigs, because I didn't have the driving license. I was 17, and I had somehow in proportion, I had more gigs than now. There was many chances to play. I remember I could easily, as a small kid learning, I didn't know anything about, I mean, I was just beginning. and I could easily play once or twice per week, like in clubs in town, in Modena, not needing to go. And then as by the time was passing by, I started to grow, and of course I start to go to Bologna jazz scene. That Bologna was a great city, a lot of things happening, and then Milan, and the more I was growing older, the more the possibility to play were shrinking, no, and of course. I am lucky because I've been playing a lot of festivals, a lot of bands, but I could see, and I never, but also I would say that I was 80% playing and 20% teaching, things like that.
Yeah.
Now is almost the other way around. Even if I'm really happy with what I'm doing by playing, because I'm playing with some of the musicians that I love most, like Franco D'Andrea, Furio Di Castri, and, other bands on this classical thing with Mario Marzi, who is one of the best classical saxophone player. I mean, but I see that it's more. And for a new student, I see the musician, the level increase a lot. There are very good musicians, especially also my student. When I'm teaching in Siena Ensemble, it's not really teaching. It's just we meet and play, and they play and they are amazing. I mean, I could just book a gig the day after, and we could just play. We could just go out and call the tunes and play, because they are, but there are not many chances for them compared to the level of the musician, and a lot of good music happening. To my opinion, a young musician with nice ideas, very smart, very nice things, or probably also now I am too old to go to play to certain places, not, but things are I don't see. Yeah, things are happening. There are a lot of things happening, but few chances to listen or.
Yeah, it's the same everywhere. Yeah.
But also I see a lot of social media things, probably things are going on in a different way that I'm used to.
Yeah.
So there is also this side that I cannot really tell you, because I'm old-fashioned.
You're old, yeah. You're old.
But and but a lot of nice music, musician, a lot. To me, it's which is nice. I mean, it's a pleasure to hear these music, and especially here in Ferrara, in Ferrara city, there is this very famous jazz club.
Jazz club, yeah, it's beautiful, yeah.
Torione, which is beautiful, and they do a big booking. There is a lot Americans musicians also. They come, but also there is a nice underground scene going on.
Oh, really? Okay.
They have the orchestra of the Torione, the jazz orchestra, and they have an ensemble, istantanea ensemble, which is for more like contemporary music.
Wow.
And they have a lot of musicians, young musicians hanging, and fantastic. I mean, and every time you go, you listen to people playing interesting things.
Yeah. That's important. Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
I wish I could play with all of them, but they don't call me.
It's just
I'm too old.
You're too old. You play the same licks all the time, so
yeah, same things, different instruments, same licks. Yeah.
I know you teach at 11. Just last question, like What's on the schedule for the remainder of the year for you? I mean, do you have some festivals or recordings coming up, or?
In my schedule, well, I have, going back to young people, young musicians, next week I will play, on the 20th of June, I will play in Rome with a great piano player called Danilo Blaiotta, who is, he did a nice project with, about Kerouac and things, with some speech, some live speech, and very good project. And then I have a concert with Furio Di Castri, Zapping, called Zapping, dedicated to music of Frank Zappa. And I'm preparing this. I'm preparing the scores for the orchestra. This year is going to be only strings orchestra plus jazz quartet. And I have this thing going on. I'm preparing this, and then I'm playing with a nice band which I wrote a couple of tunes called Jelly Roll. Is a tribute to Jelly Roll Morton, but playing in a personal way. From northern Italy, from the Sud Tirol. From the German part of Helga Plankensteiner and her husband Michael Losch, which are great. He's a great composer. She's a great saxophone player, and it's nice. It's really nice to play. So nice things going on, and
cool.
Yeah.
Great, Aki. Grazie for sharing some of these thoughts. So, man, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Samo.